Good evening, televiewers of DMR TV. Good evening, special friends of Mountain Echoes, and welcome to our special program today. In times of crisis, someone has said, whether they are natural disaster, public upheaval, social unrest, or global pandemics, the church has a unique opportunity to demonstrate the power of Christian unity. The church also, or during crisis, often expose human fragility, deepen divisions, and heighten the need for support. Yet they also present a chance for the church to shine as a unified body, reflecting Christ's love and offering hope to a haunting world. Christian unity, therefore, in times of crisis, is not just a lofty idea or ideal, but a practical and spiritual response to the challenges faced by individuals and communities. As a result of the above statement, with an unknown person, we have fine and doctrinal minds that have come today to look at this topic. What is the vision and mission of the church towards Christian unity? A time set aside by the church from the 18th of January to the 25th of January every year. Of course, like I said before, we have on board fine minds and doctrinal minds who are going to express themselves, are going to introduce themselves to us, the viewers and very special friends of Mountain Echoes. We begin with Father Cletus. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you very much, Father Ernest. I am very much delighted to be here today and to join you for this special edition of Mountain Echoes. Thank you so much.
Yes, I said also maybe you help the viewers to know what you carry with you, your potentials as far as ecumenism is concerned, bringing on board pastors from different denominations and Christians from different denominations also.
I'm merely a diocesan coordinator of ecumenism and interreligious dialogue as appointed by His Excellency Michael Bibi, Bishop of the Diocese of Buea. And I think ecumenism has always been the mission and the vision of the church. And that is why we are here to promulgate and to make sure that that vision is realized as far as we are here in our own time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Father Cletus. We have beside Father Cletus, Reverend Mrs. Laughlin Mufo. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Father, and thank you so much.
Yeah, can you tell the viewers just a little about yourself? Maybe we have Baptists, we have Presbyterian, we have Anglicans, and this time around is Reverend Mrs. Laughlin. Just tell them a little about yourself.
I am the Reverend Mrs. Mufoinda Laughlin. I am the Associate Pastor of PC Bomaka. I'm really strong behind ecumenism, though without any portfolio like appointment or anything, but with my training as a theologian, as a pastor, I'm really inclined in ecumenism.
Yeah, so you are from Boma City, Boma Kingdom. That is our Reverend Mrs. Laughlin, who is from the associate pastor down there at Boma Kingdom, Boma City. We call it Bomaka. And by my right, we have Panjikan Gabriel. Good evening and welcome.
Thanks a trillion, Father, for the invitation. I'm always very, very flattered by your invitations to me. And this time around, on this very, very sensitive and very important topic, Christian unity. I feel very honored to be part of it. I'm a theologian, an ex-seminarian.
Yeah.
Having done theology, having qualified and having degrees in it, I'm a philosopher. Having had some studies of philosophy and the pioneer philosophy teacher around the whole place, and sociologist and an anthropologist there. The whole package is there. I don't want to get the right title, which may not be part of this. So I think it's very, very important for me to be here. And as a convinced Catholic Christian, to talk about ecumenism in the name of Christian unity.
Yeah, thank you very much for accepting the invitation. And the last on the panel today, we have Reverend Dr. Jobera Nelson. Many persons on my phone or my friends have been asking, is Pastor not coming? They're waiting for Pastor. Pastor is my chaplain and blah, blah, blah. I'm sure those are ex-students from BHS, if I'm not making a mistake. You're welcome, Reverend Dr. Nelson.
Thank you very much, Father. I'm glad to be here. 2025, we're meeting again in a session to continue from where we ended last year.
Yeah.
I think the topic already grants us opportunities to start again fine-tuning our perspective as men and women whom the Lord is choosing to actually come on stage to see how to promulgate the aspect of ecumenism. I'm the pastor of Salvation Baptist Church, Justice and Peace Advocate, and my desire, my plans, wishes, aspirations are to see us come together so as to establish a common front to move forward with the gospel and to leave a legacy for posterity.
Yeah, thank you very much, Doctor, for being with us today. Like we have the title of today's program, or the topic, what is the vision and mission of the church towards Christian unity? And the very document itself, talking about Christian unity this time around, from the 18th to the 25th, there is a question there, which is the theme. Father Cletus will help us on that. Do you believe? And when I saw that theme, I was asking myself, do you believe that there is going to be peace in Cameroon? Do you believe there's going to be unity in Cameroon? Do you believe that there is going to be, a kind of satisfaction with all the Christians? Do you believe that all the Christians will speak as one? Many things went through my mind. So when looking at the theme of this edition of Christian Unity this time around, 2025, precisely from John chapter 11, verse 26, what do you think about it, Father?
Normally, faith is a pivotal element in our Christian life. If you don't have faith, you are just like a cup of tea without sugar. And it is in the context of the raising of Lazarus from the dead by Jesus Christ. And that fundamental question was put to Martha. Do you believe that your brother will rise again? That was a fundamental, in short, act of faith. And she says, yes, I believe that on the resurrection day. And Jesus said that if you believe, it will happen right now. Now, bringing this theme to this year's Christian Unity, you know that every year the dicastery for Christian Unity and the World Council for Churches or of churches in the world, they meet in order to bring out a team. So this year when they met, they saw it that this act of faith is that particular element that will move Christian. Do you believe that we can be one? Do you believe that Jesus Christ created by one church? Do you believe that we serve by one God? Do you believe that Jesus is the Lord? If Jesus is the Lord, we serve one God. Therefore, there is no need for division. So these two communities met, and they decided to choose this team. And the whole aspect about the celebration of this year is that when we come on that particular day from the 18th to the 25th, depending on the day that we will choose to go to the Baptist church, to the Presbyterian church, and to the Catholic church, when we come, all of us will stand outside of the church in small groups, about 10 or 4 or 5. Now, when they ring the bell, we'll now process into the church. And when we stand in that group, we'll be talking, just talking. So it's a symbol. The symbol of this year is the candle that they have chosen. So it comes from northern Italy, from the monastery in the northern Italy known as the Bose community. So when they choose a team, they choose a particular community that can really practicalize that team. So when we stand outside, we shall process into the church, and when we get into the church now, they will read the scriptures and then they will preach. After the preaching, the men of God, they will light the candle and they give to the people. And then now they will go back home with the candle. They have been enlightened by Christ with that faith. So they are going to share the light of Christ in faith to the people out there.
Thank you very much, Father Cletus. Getting back to this theme of this year of Christian Unity from the 18th to the 25th, do you believe from John's Gospel? I am tempted to ask Dr. Nursing that some persons who move around saying that church in a church and some kind of stuff. Again, now one God church in a church. What do you have to say about it related to this theme? That doesn't matter if I'm in Catholic or Baptist or Presbyterian, or I stay at home, blah 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 and so on. How do we relate this theme this time around? Don't you think that maybe because of some of those kind of weird saying in the quarters, the group of persons, this group of persons that Father Cletus said, they had to put their heads together to make sure that they come out with this team?
I want to believe that it's from that kind of an ideology that we came up with the notion of educating the people, sensitizing the people, letting them know that talking about belonging is not what is important, but living a life that shows that we belong is what is crucial. And ecumenism must be preached, must be taught, must be dramatized, so that our people wake up. You see, what Father has prefaced there is so challenging. To imagine that we seem to feel we are one, we are not really one, because we need to practice oneness as a demonstration of the unity the Father had with the Son. So if we are able to articulate it in our abilities to function and to worship, that will be a legacy we are leaving for posterity. Then it shall come to pass, and the question, do you believe, shall be relevant.
Okay, we'll be coming back to you, Dr. Nassina, Reverend Dr. Nassina Jobara, and congratulations once more. We need to do something. The Mountain Echoes crew, including Father Cletus is there. We have new members are coming. We have a doctor this time around. I'm sure maybe next you have another doctor. Father is there in school with some other things will be coming. So congratulations once more. Panjikang, this is for you. Putting all these things together in a few words, what do we say is Christian unity therefore?
Yes. Thanks very much, Father. And I think we must put on our thinking caps and our reading caps and get to our Bibles.
Yeah.
Let us get to the Gospel of John, what we traditionally call in theology the priestly prayer of Jesus Christ. His priestly prayer, chapter 17, John 17. And it goes on, and especially we'll get to John 20. I mean 17, 20. 17 chapter, verse 20. And it says, that all may be one. As I and you are one, that they all may be one. Very, very important. What did Christ mean by that they all may be one? What is the oneness he's talking about here? He's talking about the unity of all his children, his disciples. Whatever happened as per the history of it all, whatever happened with the Reformation, the Counter-Reformation, the Martin Luther's or whatever thing, that is, let us say, that is a past and gone story. He still tells us each day that we should be one and come to one. Now, that oneness has to be understood and in context. He's not saying that we don't have ideological differences. He's not saying that we don't have differences of what we want to do. But Jesus is very strongly telling us, and that's the spirit of ecumenism. And I want to remind us equally about our Catholic faith, the Catholic Church, which talks of it in the very famous document, the Second Vatican Council. Second Vatican Council in its constitution on the dogmatic constitution on the church. Domestic constitution of the church, the Lumen Gentium. That was I think it was on the 21st of November 1964. Insisted that we all must fight and struggle hard, that all the churches imbibe the idea that we all have one source, and that is Jesus Christ. He brought us together, he came together, he left his church, and that church is what is our mission. We must have one mission, one vision, and one direction, and one focus. How we get into it, and that is where the problems are, that is a problem of methodology. It's methodology. How do we articulate this Jesus who left us? What is the content of the Jesus message that he left to us? Those are the kind of differences that came up. But Christian unity insists that we must realize that we have one source, Jesus Christ, who left his church, and in that church he founded it, and he has he has a history, apostolic history, that it was founded on the apostles. The rest of the things about tradition and whatever thing, those have been bones of contention, which are artificialities. We in philosophy call them, those are accidents. The main thing is belonging to one person, and that one person is the person who started his church, under whom we have a right to unite. The Second Vatican Council insists that all of us should work towards this unity of oneness in what? Of purpose, of orientation, of goals, and of ideals. That is what the Christian unity really has to do with. We are not here to convince the Presbyterians to become Catholics, or the Baptists to become Catholics, or the Baptists to become Jehovah's Witnesses. Of course, sorry, Jehovah's Witnesses are not part of this.
Anyway, Panjikan will be coming back to that. Reverend Mrs. Laughlin has been quiet all this while. Panjikan made mention of the fact that from John 17, chapter verse 21, Jesus prays that all believers may be one as he and the Father are one. This takes us to the second question on our desk. Why, therefore, is Christian unity important to us today?
Thank you very much, Father, for that question. And I wish to say that Christian unity is very important to us today because it is the prime motive of Jesus Christ when he prayed that we may all be one. Secondly, if we say that we are Christian, we should show it by our love. And love is what unites people together. Love does not separate. Love has no barrier. Love has no boundaries. And then, another reason why Christian unity is very important is because we understand that the Lord, though he is Trinitarian, but he is one. He shows himself as a Father, the Son and the Holy Spirit. But at the end, he's united as one person. So we as his children, even though we are entities, individuals, but we need to be united. Even though we belong to different denominations, be it Catholic, be it Presbyterian or the Baptist, but because we believe, because we have that faith, we need to be united.
Yeah, thank you very much. Father Cletus was just looking at me. I'm sure he has one or two things to add on that, Father. Why is it very important? You know, since 2016 up till now, don't you think that this Christianity has something to do with what we have been going through, especially in the Southwest and Northwest region?
It has. When you look at the Second Vatican document, Unitatis Reintegratio, or Nostra Aetate, or Ut Unum Sint, it talks about the necessity for unity.
Yeah.
Unity in diversity, as you have mentioned already. And the whole lot about ecumenism is that aspect of confirming to the priestly prayer of Jesus Christ, John 17:21, that all may be one. And that prayer wasn't for the Presbyterian, the Catholic Church, the Baptist, or whatever church. It was for human beings, for Christians. Anybody who call his or herself a Christian, you are a follower of Christ. We must sort for that unity, because as you mentioned, using the idea of the Trinity, there are three persons in one God: God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. Yeah. Normally in theology you say that it is not God the Son who created the world. It is God the Father. It's not God the Father who died on the cross. It's God the Son. It's not God the Son who sanctifies the Spirit. But yet the Father who created the world was with the Son and the Spirit. The Son who died, the Father was with him and the Spirit. And the Spirit who sanctified, the Father is always there with the Son. So therefore we are talking about unity in diversity. And it is not all about transforming people or converting people into Catholicism or into Protestantism. No. That's where many people fail to understand. It's an idea for us to come together to worship God in our various diverse ways. We believe that through the Blessed Virgin Mary we can reach Christ. The Presbyterians don't believe that. It has nothing to do with their faith or ecumenism. When we meet, let us focus on those things. The Second Vatican Council insisted and warned us. Let us consist and insist on those things that unite us than those things that separate us.
Yeah, I'll be calling on Reverend Dr. Nelson again. 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 10 says, St. Paul urges Christians to be united in mind and judgment. Looking at the topic of today's edition, we're calling what the church's mission and vision towards realizing this whole thing of Christian unity. What do you have to say with this text from St. Paul's letter?
It's a kind of a challenge to us to live up to expectations so that we might be able to brandish the light of Jesus Christ. When we speak here, sometimes it's like our grammar may be too high for some people to digest. We talk unity, diversity. We need to use illustrations that can actually touch base so that we communicate clearly. Let me come in. The church in unity will accomplish our target. All right? Which means if we're able to acknowledge the fact that we have one source and we have one target, we need to stand together. Now, the church in diversity will miss out on her target. Which means we must move away from the 16th century. We have been activity oriented, which means we celebrate what we do as the Roman Catholic Church, we celebrate what we do as the Baptist Church, but the time has come for us to move out from being activity oriented to be purpose driven. If we're purpose driven, it means we have a target that we must tacitly accomplish. And if we distract ourselves, we miss out on our target. And so we are on board to actually encourage the aspect of unity, which is helping us to focus on our target. Now, the oneness we are propagating is to enable us touch base. The oneness we are propagating is to enable us accomplish our target. Without that oneness, we shall still be celebrating our activities, and we feel that we are accomplishing. We are not accomplishing when we are activity driven. But if we are purpose driven, we'll be seeing our target mobilizing resources, financial resources, material resources, intellectual, whatever, with the notion of reaching that target. And that is why our topic tonight is so challenging. All right? Talking about unity. If we sing and talk and preach without practicing it, we failed. And so we need now to capture what our target is. And that comes back to what is the mission?
Yeah.
What is the vision?
Vision.
We must define our target so well so that we strategize on how to reach that target and minimize those things that hold us back and prevent us from actually conceptual framework to be able to see very well before we now get into the reality of it. So St. Paul had already seen this. Jesus has seen it, and in his priestly prayer, he did advocacy and intercessory. He advocated, let there be one, as I and my Father are one. Interceding, they are not good enough to do it. Father, enable them to do it, because on their own they will do what they think is right. But I am delighted in what they do, which is a command, obeying what I have instituted. So Paul actually challenged us, and we are here struggling to live out instructions from the Apostle Paul, deriving strategies on how to function as a team. Now let me tell you, you may just believe that it's normal for us to sit like this, but many of our Christians are actually overwhelmed when they see a reverend father talking with a pastor of the Baptist. They may wonder what they are discussing in common, because they believe the reverend father is supposed to be in his parish, doing his things, and the reverend pastor or whoever is supposed to be in his church doing his things. But when they see us talking together, it calls to mind a unity that must exist, and we are here to remind them that we seem to be at different angles, having different issues to propagate, yet one single mission as a church, because we represent the church as a head. So we must propagate a dimension of unity that they will see, not just here, and practice it. And that explains why Father said the time has come for us to move from house to house. It's not church to church now. It's house to house, indicating to our Christians that we are one, and demonstrating that oneness to the phases, so that they might catch that flame, and will be able now to see the target that is ahead of us, the goal that is ahead of us, to be able to come back to how Jesus articulated that we should go about it, to be able to accomplish why we leave a legacy on the face of this earth.
Father, let me just snappily get in there. I want to snappily get into to what he's saying, that the disorientation to be focused, and being focused is what we're talking about. And we, the Catholics, insist very much in the Catechism of the Catholic Church until 1694, insist on the fact that we must work in the mind of Christ. What was the mind of Christ? The mind of Christ was that all his children should be one. The mind was all the children should be one. But there are a few things that we must indicate here. Let's not presume and pretend that all will be grossly and all will be palatable. Definitely not. There are a lot of indicators that we must watch out for. Is there humility on both sides? Are we prepared to be humble, to accept one another? Is the Presbyterian prepared to accept me, a Catholic? Is the Catholic prepared to accept the Baptists, Ebenezer Baptist or Native Baptist, whatever? And you must be able to say, are we prepared to be docile, to listen to one another, to hear what the other has to offer? Those are some of the indicators that my panelists were saying, talking about be project driven. Be project driven. And then you're asking yourself again, are we prepared to be charitable to one another? That the other makes a mistake, I will say, okay, sorry, we're all one, let us accept it. But what the problems are often is that some of us hold tenaciously to our doctrinal points of view, and we're not prepared to succumb to the other side of it. And that's what makes it very, very dangerous.
Very dangerous. Anyway, Panjikan, thank you very much. We'll be coming to that. Father Cletus, this is for you. St. Paul's letter to the Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 3, he says, Paul encourages believers to maintain the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. It is no news to us that in the southwest region and northwest regions of Cameroon, we're experiencing a crisis since 2016. And bringing these words of St. Paul, how practical can we put this? How do you think we can live this where peace has been absent for all these years?
That's a tricky question, Father. I think talking about our brothers in the bushes, like they will say, the armed separatists, and on the other side we have the military. They are all from churches. They are all Catholics, Baptists, Presbyterian, Protestants, Pentecostals, and Orthodox. And if we see ourselves as made in Imago Dei, the image and likeness of God, through ecumenism, because sometimes somebody may be fighting and say that in this camp, this is a Presbyterian, I'm a Catholic. let me just kill him because he's a Presbyterian. But if they see us ministers of the gospel joining together and praying together and discussing together, they'll say that, hey, if our leaders can talk like this, that means there's something in this, my brother. It's not all about church, it's about a person. Because Jesus lives in all of us. We are all made in his image and his likeness. So therefore the person is more than the church. That is why the last quote of the canon law, there should be 1080 something, says salus animarum. In the case of periculum mortis, all the laws are bent, because human life is more important than any other thing. I think ecumenism, from that dimension, us uniting together, we've sent a good message to our brothers and sisters in the bushes, telling them that unity, love is what we need, and that unity and that love is foreshadowed in this joint prayer that we are doing from the 18th to the 25th of December. Just permit me go out of what you asked me. You look at this from this context. I will ask the technician to show this side. Let me show them this book. This is the book that will be used as formed by the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon. There is one of the Catholic Church, I forgot our own. Is there are the prayers that which has been formulated by the dicastery and the council for all the churches. And in this book, we are going to look for a day. For us in Bomaka already, we had a day already that we go to the Baptist Church and the Presbyterian Church and the Catholic Church in the context of the 18th to the 25th. And one most important element that we are celebrating this year, 2025, is the 1700th anniversary of the Council of Nicaea. So they decided that we celebrate it today because it was in the Council of Nicaea that we formulated the Apostles' Creed, the Nicene Creed. So today the dicastery for that promulgation of a Christian unity and the Council for all the churches in the world, they said that we should celebrate that 1700 years of the existence of the Council of Nicaea.
Thank you very much, Father. You made mention of love. It's no news to us that St. Paul equally knew about this, and in his letter to the church in Philippi chapter 2 verse 2, he says, I read, Paul calls believers to have the same love and be of one mind. The topic of today says, what is the mission and vision of the church towards Christian unity? Reverend Mrs. Loughlin, how do we put this in context? Bring it in love and one mind with what we are expected to do as as ministers of God.
Yes, Father, bringing in what you have just quoted from Paul's letter to the Philippians, bringing in love, being in one mind, into the theme of Week of Prayer for Christian Unity this 2025. We know that love is the greatest. Love is the main purpose. Love is the main, how could I put it? Love is the main thing that brings, or that God first of all had. He loved us so much that he gave us his son so that he should die on the cross for us. And he also encourages us that we should love one another. And in loving one another, we cannot just say we love one another without showing it practically. Like Reverend Doctor was saying the other way, it is time for us to show it practically, to show that love practically. And so during this Week of Prayer for Christian Unity, we need to be showing this love practically. Not only to be showing it during this week, and to continue. How a Presbyterian can show love to a Catholic without any segregation. How a Baptist can show love to a neighbor, a friend, or even a passerby who is not even a Baptist without any division. How we can correlate even in the community without even our churches. And we know that love shows itself in charity. Love shows itself in the way we share, the way we correlate, the way we see others, the way we are open to receive others, the way we are hospitable, and even the way we speak to others. So it is very, very important that we as Christians, we as
ministers
of God, should promulgate this issue of love, this aspect of love, because God is love.
Of course. Thank you very much. God is love, and he will always remain that love at all the time in his life. We get back to Father Cletus. It's no news to us that back in the seminary from the 18th to the 25th, celebrations were of, they don't joke with it. Panjikang, I'm sure, is going to testify. I'm sure even Reverend Dr. Nelson is going, Pastor also is going to testify. But then, bringing it back. I don't know more in the southwest region as compared to northwest region. How practical are we going to do this thing this time around? To make the people of the southwest region in particular know that this issue is something which they must carry alongside as far as they're called sons and daughters of God.
Thank you very much. I will limit it to Fako division where Boya diocese ends.
Yeah.
As far as ecumenism is concerned for this year, it's going to be wonderful because personally I have made a tour around the diocese. I visited all the deans and I talked with the deans and I gave them the instruction given to me by the bishop as far as this year's celebration is concerned. And I will tell you that the dean of Bota Deanery, Father Peter Namongo, is on his feet already. Today he visited the Presbyterian pastor and the Baptist pastor there in Bota, and he told me in the evening that everything is done and set there. The dean of Moliko Deanery, Reverend Father Frank Bayong, told me that he will be having a meeting with his priest this week. That means by tomorrow, so that they will meet the pastor. Thank God the Reverend pastor there in Moliko always come here for programs, so she has no problem. And even the Reverend pastor here in the Reverend pastor in the Boya station here, Leonga is always there. But again, Reverend is here, Reverend Jobara, doctor is here. But I have a little problem with the Baptist. Few of them are open. Yeah, I went to Bota and the pastor there was not open. The one with me in Bomaka, nothing. We have gone there several times. You say yes, I'm coming. I don't know what is the problem. I have even visited the fee pastor, and we discussed so many times. But when I call him, he said, "No, I just have a meeting now. I didn't know that my program, but I don't know what is the problem." But our idea is not to convert anybody, but it's to show that love and unity. But I will bet you, Father, this year's celebration is going to be wonderful. And in Bomaka, let me tell you something. We are going to end it with a football encounter between CWE and CWF on Monday the 27th. So it's something to come and witness yourself. So we are inviting you to Bomaka to come and witness ecumenism in practice.
Yeah, thank you very much. Boma City, Boma Kingdom. Pastor, following what Father Cletus also. So how maybe some of those preparations as far as Christian unity is concerned. What things have you maybe been putting in place also? I don't know.
When people are glued to some ideologies and dogmas, it's difficult to just move paradigms easily.
Yeah.
And we are here to move paradigms. Our paradigms should move to the right.
Yeah.
Okay. For a long time, we have been dozing, but gratifying in the things we do. But the time has come not for us to render sacrifices, but to do obedience.
Yeah.
I want to come back before I answer a question to a text you quoted that touches my spirit. Yeah. Ephesians chapter 4. I want to read verse 2 and verse 3.
Yeah.
Paul says, be completely humble and gentle, be patient, bearing with one another in love. Yeah. And verse 3 says, make every effort to keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace.
Yeah.
All right? Reverend Loveland has been emphasizing love. And take away love, every other thing will be a mess. All right, as Father Aka says, the flame is glowing and glowing slowly but surely. At the time, everybody shall be on board. Reasons being that if we sit and fold our arms and say, no, this one is not interested, we shall begin to mark time and to do retrogressive kind of movement, which is not necessary. We've already gone past the aspect of campaigning. We are moving on. So we move with the movers, hoping others will join us, and we move ahead. It will not be easy. Christ never said it was going to be easy. And so the challenges are going to be obvious. But let those stumbling blocks totally become stepping stones for us to accomplish our mission. And so we are here on fire. And the fire is, let it glow. That oneness is advocated. Now, you need to come to terms with yourself. These words are very challenging. Be completely humble. Humility has to do with looking at the virtues of Christ, incarnating the values of Jesus Christ himself. He was quite humble. So a man of God who is not humble is not doing the will of Christ. Completely humble, which means in your ideologies be humble. Yeah. In your ways of worship be humble. Yeah. In the way you relate with people be humble. Yeah. It encompasses everything you do. And that already projects Christ on your face. Bearing one another. It's not easy to accommodate. But if we come from homes where we have Muslims in our homes, Catholics in our homes, Baptists in our homes, it means at the global level we can practice ecumenism. which means I embrace you and you embrace me, and we exchange a candle and we still take it home. All right? That shows how we are one. Now look at on a pitch when there's a football match. After a top football match, maybe finals, when the match is over, they exchange the jersey or whatever. I give you mine, you take mine as a souvenir.
Yeah.
We need souvenirs to show that we are one. So this week, as projected, shall not reflect a green color, nor sky blue, nor deep blue, but it shall reflect the light of Jesus Christ. We are one because He and the Father are one. And we must make every effort. It is not going to be easy.
Yeah.
I was with Father Bayon this morning, and the man is hot.
Yeah.
And he says the week is already projected, and he's moving around doing the campaign, the spiritual campaign.
Yeah.
And we are here doing the advocacy, the spiritual advocacy. We want the people to know that we've moved from our cocoons and we are ready to part with those things that have held us captive and granted us a lot of satisfaction, to now strain from our comfort zones, to reach out with the word. And the word carries a lot of love. And to end, he says, keep the unity of the Spirit through the bond of peace. We are so in fact, our desire is to keep the unity of the Spirit. That unity begins with us, the physical belonging, coming together, congregating to show the love of Christ. If we cannot do it and preach it, it will not be received by anyone. So, Father, I think we are on the move. And we will move as the Spirit is leading, trusting and believing that others will also be involved when their mindsets begin to shift from what they had been to what they should be.
Yeah, thank you very much, Reverend Dr. Nelson. If you're just joining us, we are on the topic of what is the vision and mission of the church towards Christian unity. It's no news to us that from the 18th to the 25th of January every year, these days are kept aside for Christian unity, the Christians to come together, to pray together, so that they can journey together, putting together and making the prayer of Christ be a reality. From John chapter 17 verse 21, where he prays, Jesus prays that all believers may be one as He and the Father are one. Oneness, though they have their different maybe doctrines and some other kind of stuff, but then they are created in the image and likeness of God. We have this for you, Panjikang. What is the role, therefore, of ecumenism in Christian unity?
I think we cannot say anything other than saying that it is a must.
Yeah.
It is a must. Jesus is not asking our opinions, and we are not free to leave it or to take it. We must be there. It is a mission that we must accomplish. Remember when we talk about the doxology of Jesus, the last things of Jesus, and even in every Eucharistic celebration, the Catholic, the Presbyterian, the Baptist, I've witnessed my brother, Reverend Nelson. I've witnessed Reverend Pastors of the Presbyterian Church. My very good old friend, may his soul rest in peace, late Dr. Nasukuninku, and the rest of them always sing, for the kingdom, the power and the glory are yours now and forever. We all say it. What does that mean? What does that entail? That means what? We are all admitting the fact that we have one Creator who is the one person who drives us and who will be driven to us. The glorification of His name is all what we are all talking about. And His reign is coming and has come. And that His power is within us to save us and to will us. So it is not a matter of ecumenism, I like it. Ecumenism, I don't want it. No. What I think the warning should be that we should take away the complexities.
Yeah.
Take away the complexities, which may be superior or inferior, depending on which side you fall.
Okay, thank you very much, Panjikang. And this is for Father Cletus, related to what Panjikang just said, Father. How can the church effectively foster unity among different Christian denominations without compromising core doctrines?
Yes, of course, that's very important. Very, very important. I want us to really follow it very keenly.
Yeah.
The Second Vatican Council spelled everything out. There is nothing that you will not see in that document. Yes, Unitatis Reintegratio. It's a powerful document. The Ut Unum Sum, that's encyclical of John Paul II.
Yeah.
There, the council fathers, being aware of the importance of unity, that might term that the doctor does not like that unity in diversity must always come up.
Yeah.
Yes, because in the course of fighting for ecumenism,
Yeah.
there are diverse ways of worship.
Yeah.
Don't force a Presbyterian to worship like a Catholic. don't force a Catholic to worship like a Presbyterian. But the Council Father says, if you come to a Catholic church and they are praying the Rosary, there's nothing wrong in you to just join them in the prayer and just sit and listen. You get me very clear?
Yeah.
Now, if you go to the Baptist church and they are saying the prayer, I don't know, there's nothing wrong that if you sit and follow them, the prayer, nothing will change in you. But the fundamental aspect is that let us concentrate on those things that unite us than the things that separate us. Let us not forget that the church is one. And I want to go into something that you may never ask in your life. Why is it that the 18th to the 25th is chosen? It's not for nothing. It's not. Have you ever studied the theological implication of that? Have you ever studied it? On the 18th of January, we celebrate the most two important feasts. On the 18th, we celebrate the feast of the Chair of St. Peter, which symbolizes leadership and Christian unity. Then on the 25th, we celebrate the Convention of St. Paul.
So St. Paul.
That's why these two dicasteries met and said that we let us celebrate it on the 18th to the 25th of January. These are the two princes of the church, Paul and Peter. So that is why we must promulgate what they taught. Unity is the most important aspect, and that unity must be in diversity.
I remember there was a problem. Paul and Peter, two different. one of them happened to have all the energy, and the other one had all the intelligence.
Yeah.
And they didn't work in the same area, right?
Yeah.
They went to different parts of the world.
Yeah, they even quarreled now. They quarreled.
That's what I mean. They quarreled. One went to the Gentile world, the other one went to the other world. So that is very important. That's what I'm following Faraka to say that those are that is what was in the mind of the Council Fathers to talking about this. Paul and Peter disagreed, but then they still united themselves somewhere.
And they died together in Rome.
They died together in Rome.
64 AD under Emperor Nero. And again, the council, today, the churches, they are telling us to celebrate 1,700 years of the Council of Nicaea. We have just underlooked that one.
Yeah.
It's very important because it was at that council that the creed was formulated that brought that Christian unity. The issue about the divinity of Christ was solved, and many people came now into order and they believe in that unity, that divine sonship of Jesus Christ. And it was there.
After the famous heresy of Arius.
The
Arian heresy.
And that's why you go to Presbyterian church, they will profess their belief.
Yeah.
Yes, you come to the Catholic church, they profess their belief.
Yes.
And even in Baptist, they profess their belief.
Yes.
So that is already a uniting factor.
Yeah, Father, we're coming to that. The document here says that the period from January 18 to the 25th is recognized in the Christian liturgical calendar as the week of prayer for Christian unity. This annual observance encourages Christians to pray and work together for unity among different Christian denominations, reflecting on the call of Jesus for his followers to be one. The dates are significant as they coincide with the feast of the Convention of St. Paul, that's January 25th, which is seen as a reminder of the power of conversion and reconciliation in the Christian faith. And equally, they say from January 18 to the 25th has its roots in the communal movement and has been observed since the early 20th century. It was initiated by the monastic community of the Taizé community and the World Council of Churches with the aim of fostering greater dialogue and reconciliation among Christian denominations. Each year, the themes and prayers for the week are developed by different Christian communities around the world. The goal is to emphasize that despite doctrinal differences, Christians share a common faith in Christ, and this unity can be demonstrated through prayer and action. We go back to that, Dr. Nelson. We're talking about prayer and action. You know, what do you have to say about that?
We are here to uphold the Second Vatican Council.
Yeah.
You know, the reforms in that council were so challenging and very pragmatic. Imagine that more than 2,000 bishops and theologians came together, and their intentions were to bring out reforms geared towards letting paradigms move, as I said earlier. Talking about ecumenism, the council emphasized on the aspect of unity among Christians and encouraging dialogue. Dialogue. We are here talking about dialogue.
Of course.
When Father talks and says, you know, we can function, and if you're not able to do what I'm doing, lie low on that aspect and concentrate on that which holds us together. Because at the end of the day, you are not becoming me, I'm not becoming you. But we are looking at a common goal. It talks about religious reforms, which we are here to improve on what we've been doing. We've been doing good, but we can do better. And that is why we are doing advocacy here. And the council made declarations talking about the right of religious freedom. Okay? Emphasizing the significance of the departure from the church's previous stance, which means the church had earlier on believe that you remain where you are and I remain where I am,
Yes.
and we consolidate and do what we know is right. Now is not what we know is right. Now is doing what has been given to us as an assignment, a commission,
Yeah.
and ended up emphasizing the need for us to practicalize our teachings. As Father says, it's important for us to actually move out. It's important for us to actually prove that which we've read, that which we've known, that which has been in us for too long a time. And it begins from shedding, putting away the things that have held us, giving us the notion that we are all and all. You may not say it, but you may live it without knowing you are living it. So the time has come for us to drop those things so as to be able to embrace the common clarion call to reach out to the masses, to reach out to a desperate population, to let people know that we are one. And if we do that in love, obviously, we shall all be on board. And the aspect of communism will not be a song, will be a normal lifestyle of every believer. Because it will be joyous. Honestly, it will show a oneness that exists in the churches so that we can be able to accomplish our goal and to let people see the love of Christ in us and to see how important they are. Banjikan talked about complex, inferiority, superiority. It doesn't matter when it comes to worship, when it comes to our relationship with our God. He has called us and given us an assignment as a church, and we must recognize our one focus and work towards accomplishing it.
And let me even add that in the days past, the Reverend Nelson and Reverend, you may all know, in the days past, there used to be this kind of synergy that was between the various churches, the various Christian churches. I remember at the time I was a major seminarian. The Reverend Pastor used to live from Joseph Mary Ndu, come down to Bamenda to the major seminary. Nyasa Kuniku used to live from Boya, come up to Bamenda. There was a Pastor Bath, I think he was in Ginicom, Presbyterian pastor. He used to come down there. And they met every time and came out with documents. They were working on common ways of celebrating liturgy, and this worked very hard. Reverend Nelson, you remember, nowadays in my active service, we used to come together and work together like a team to build up a syllabus for teaching students, for teaching people, and how to enact this and make this practical. These are things you need to do. Remind yourself also that when the Bibles were destroyed, go back to the history, when the so-called translations of the Wycliffe Bible that were wrongly translated, when those Bibles were all taken out, thousands of them were burnt. It's not the Catholics who burnt, it's not the Presbyterians, but all the Christians agreed that these translations were wrong, that there were no right translations of what God's message was to be given to people. And they withdrew them and had all of these thousands of Bibles burnt. Isn't that true? It's part of history. So what we're saying is that we all should accept one another. Accept one another with our differences and idiosyncrasies. And collaborate. I think that's what the emphasis is. Father Aka is talking more about that. Collaboration. You have to collaborate. There'll be a lot of sad incidents and sad encounters, but we must be prepared to collaborate and work in synergy. In synergy for the common purpose. Because what are we talking about? We're talking about the people who have anxieties and difficulties. We're here to improve on their plight, to recommend what should be done, what they should do, to even propose to government. Let us not be afraid to say it on this platform. To propose to government what should be done to these our common masses who are passing through. Like recently we had our bishops of Cameroon talking about it. The people are suffering, the masses are passing through pain and suffering. And then we're sitting quiet, we're sitting tight because we have 3 square meals. No, that is part of the ecumenism we're talking about. Let us all come together, look at the common man, look at his plight, and don't be indifferent to his plight. Don't be indifferent to the plight of our Christians. Don't be indifferent to the anxieties and worries of the parents who are there who cannot feed, of the suffering masses, insecurity, and all the rest of it. We should not be indifferent to that. That's what the ecumenism is in practice. That is, we should pay attention to all this and make sure that we are coming out as one group of Christians, one bunch of Christians, whether Catholic or whatever. Know that those differences should not be there. I even advocate that we should not wear uniforms. We should all come out like one person in your traditional whatever thing, and the message should be preached by. Like we usually when we have ecumenical services, we in political circles.
Yeah,
we
they've
see that
been divided. Maybe a priest will take the opening prayer, the other one takes
Good.
maybe
Exactly
the preaching,
that
and the other just like that, like what is being done in the, you go to university during graduation
during
ceremonies.
convocations and everything, and some important communical services.
Yeah,
the chiefs, the Southwest chiefs met, and they had a prayer by this, had a prayer by that, and that's what should be done. I think that's practical part of it, and the people would then see that, oh, these people really truly are one. By the way they do their things, they are one. Remember, Acts of the Apostles, that they were one in spirit and in the way they did things, right?
Yes. And everything was shared in common. Reverend Mrs. Loughlin has been quiet. Reverend, there is this whole stuff of 18 to the 20 feet. It's no news to us that after the 18 to the 20 feet, it seems as if we go back into our shelves and then we storm again, maybe 2026 from the 18 to the 20 feet again. What would you think about that this time around?
Reverend Father, I would like to disagree with that a little bit.
Sure.
Okay.
Particularly practice where I am and in other places I've witnessed. I want to disagree with that idea. Because we are really doing it practically, not only during this week of prayer for Christian unity, but we are struggling that even within the year, we are also looking for activities, even though he's talking about not going for activities, but trying to put it, but those activities are the practical ways that we can bring ourselves together in not on issues of denomination. For instance, like my brother here was already talking about football. It's not only football, but now we also had prayer sessions that we can come together, not only for the Christian week of prayer, Christian week or week of prayer for Christian unity, but other reasons. Like my father the other way has been talking about the plight of the people, especially in this situation, the crisis in our country. We also come together and pray for peace. We come together and pray for God's hand into this situation. We come together and discuss issues of the community and how we can handle them. Not only maybe as a church, but maybe as a community. And in that community, there are different churches, different denominations. So it does not only end within this week of prayer for Christian unity. Any community that is really strong in this ecumenism continues it all through and only come together during this week to thank God, to pray for more and more of unity amongst ourselves.
Thank you very much, Reverend Mrs. Loughlin. This is for Reverend Dr. Nursing. Someone has said that in what ways can the church model Christ's love and unity when facing internal divisions or disagreement during a crisis period? It's not news to us that many persons, if not all, majority of Cameroonians, be it in or out of the country, their hope or their kind of say maybe their bus stop is the church. In this moment of crisis, this is the week for Christian unity, which begins from the 18th to the 20th feet. What do you have to say?
I want to begin from what Reverend Loughlin has just said. Instead of casting the dark, light a candle. Documents have been written, memos have been established, drafted and posted, sent to various quarters. But we are delaying and we do not have time because the Bible says, work for it is day, for night cometh when man worketh no more. Bomaka is just kind of producing some. The last session we had here, we had pictures, It was not about a week of prayer. It was an ordinary. They have their own opportunities and they don't take it lying down. That is dramatizing ecumenism. The last time we left the studio, I was personally served an invitation to come down to Bomaka, and it became an SOS. And I still know I'm owing, and I know I'm going to make it up. That is ecumenism. All right? It was not from a Baptist pastor. It was not from a Presbyterian pastor. It was from a man of God. All right? We have gone past who you are to what we can do. It's about what we can do as people who have been called to be patient, to be humble, bearing with one another so as to project the bond of peace. So, there are practical ways of saying it. She has answered so well. I wish the flame will glow a little bit faster. That like Bukwango, they have this dimension of togetherness, which means they've gone past the aspect of who are you and talking about what we can do. All right? We will stop at nothing. Moving on. We will stop at nothing, discussing it, and we shall stop at nothing, practicing it. That explains why this week is exceptional. very exceptional, because we want to go the extra mile, demonstrating the love of Christ by holding hands together. To learn, Father just asks, the common man has gone through trauma. We are talking about Northwest, Southwest, and the rest of the country. You know, the common man is tired going to the Catholic church every day, going to the Baptist church every day, seeing the very priest preach, seeing the very pastor. They need to be distracted. Okay, and the church is also out to distract, to give an opportunity to see a sister of yours that you do not frequently see. The church is there to encourage, so that you get a different voice. So when we come together and we stand and there are different images before them, they feel better. It's therapeutic. When we come together and we start speaking, this one brings a prayer, this one brings a homily, this one does this. No, they see unity and they smile. And the next time they meet us, they can transfer their problems and hand them over to us, and we intercede, and God will help them. So time has come for us to practice, you know, that unity that will enable them to heal. Emotional healing, they need it so badly. It's not to go to the hospital. It's to give them spiritual food, satisfaction. You know, the Bomaka shall end with a football, you know, a tournament. I pray I will be there to be one of the members of the homologation committee. So that if something is wrong, they will bring to me to show how I can manage crisis. Our joy is to just let them, you know, see that we are moving on. And to distract them from thinking about the sounds they have been hearing for too long, displacement for too long, campaigns for too long, need for this and that. We've moved past that. We have to move on. And God is bringing us on stage through a ecumenical movement to remind them of the fact that the church has not lost its vision. We are still very focused, and our desire is to move as the Spirit leads and to touch base, because we cannot be moving and leaving them behind. So from the tournaments to things like marriages to just not worship in different churches as we crisscross, that will show the oneness the Father gave to us as a recommendation to move forward.
Yeah, thank you very much. And to Father Cletus Aka, how can the church therefore use a crisis as opportunities to strengthen relationships with other Christian communities and work together in practical ways?
The communique that I wrote, I gave some practical ways in which we can foster that unity, especially in period of crisis like as we are in now. And I talked about joint prayer services, making out a community outreach. There are many people who are suffering because of the escalation of this crisis. We have internal and external IDPs, IDP and EDPs. Oh yes. So we have people who are both internally and externally displaced and they need food. So we can join as Christian body. We go and visit them, pray with them, and feed them. I think that's the way of practicalizing our ecumenism.
Yeah, thank you very much.
To change their story, Father, that's very, very important. And I think that is what it must be. The outreach is very, very important. That is, you touch these people. So a lot of them are around with stresses and depressions. They hear all kinds of stories every day. I mean, the SDO shot himself in Yaoundé and all kinds of things. But people are all depressed. So this is the time for Christians praying. We're praying, go with good works. St. Paul says that, right? Prayer and good works go together. So you meet them, and as you say, feed them, and not just feeding them, talk to them. Let them talk out, and like we say in psychology, let them throw off. Let them throw off. A lot of depressions and a lot of stress should be thrown off by these people working together to maintain this unity. And how do we work together? Reinforcing it, continually going through the nooks and crannies of the area. Some of us are sitting like Reverend Nelson said a few minutes ago, in our comfort zones. I would think all is grocery and all is gold. It is not. There are people who are out there every day going to the market. From morning till night, that woman is in the market. And what has she sold? She has sold only vegetables for 200 for a day. From morning till evening, 200 francs. Next day, she takes on the same routine thing. What do we do we need to get to reach those kind of people by changing their story, talking to them. The kind of thing will happen. You Catholics and we the Catholics do it. The bishop goes on the 26th of December to meet the prisoners to change their story. That's what we should be doing during this week. Meet those people, go to those ones, the orphanages and those kind of, and talk to them, meet them, and do more outreach. I'm very, very an advocate of a lot of outreach, a lot of support. Clothe them naked. Famous story, famous message of Jesus in Matthew 25, right? Clothing the naked. feeding the hungry, and those kind of things. That is what this period of Christian unity, like you say, I think, kudos to you people. Some of us would like to be part of, to be there whenever we think we could.
Yes, so you see Father Cletus Saka for the program. For that, I'm sure maybe Dr. Nursing, you have maybe a word to our viewers of Mountain Echoes as far as the topic of today's edition is concerned.
I want to thank God so much for this very interesting topic that challenges and humbles us at the same time. And to remind us of the fact that, just as Pa Jikan is saying, Father Aka also is singing a song. And we pray this itinerary be printed so we can even have flyers to do more publicity. It is at that dimension of week of prayer that we will come up with other strategies on how to reach out. You see, at different levels we've been reaching out. We've gone to the prison, we've gone to pray with people, but we need to move as a church. That's exactly what we're saying. It will make more meaning and demonstrate more love than me secretly going to the prison to offer 2 cartons of Savon, to talk to them. If we go as a people in the prisons, we have Catholics, we have Baptists, we have Presbyterians, or whatever. When we stand as the leaders and we talk on behalf of the church and show love on behalf of one church, they will also see a reason to celebrate the goodness of Christ. Just as Paul says again, there are people who are suffering. We do not know them. We are trying to help, sometimes helping people who are better than us.
Yeah.
But if we come together as a church, after our football match, we take 2 resolutions. What are we coming up with? Where do we go after here? Just to show love to some people and to demonstrate a New Year gift to them. You will be shocked to see a small health center somewhere we visit as a church, not as you, not as me, but telling them we are members of all the churches. Yeah. That's a strong message to preach. And why are you here? Just to tell you we care for you, we love you, and God loves you more. That message is closed. You may not take it for granted, the impact, the spiritual impact of it. So I think we have just started and we're going. And our desire is to go further than where we are seeing, so that God might take the glory. I want to thank God for our viewers. I know they are so passionate about what we're doing. They love what we're doing. But they should also stand up to follow the calendar. Because if you are part of us, let us meet this amazing week and see how to project the image of God and the oneness that the Father has given to us graciously.
Thank you very much, Pastor. And we have a word from Dr. Miss Reverend Laughlin.
Thank you, Reverend Father. If I have a word to say, I just want to encourage all the Christians of all the denominations to join us during this week of prayer massively, so that we make the love of God felt all over the world. Wherever you are in your little corner, let the candlelight that Jesus Christ brought to us be lighted, and let all of us celebrate Him as He is one, and we also will be one.
Thank you very much. And to you, Father Cletus.
Yeah, the clarion call that we have been making here, I'm begging everybody in the Diocese of Boya that please come out together. Let us go to the Presbyterian Church, let us go to the Baptist Church, let us come to the Catholic Church to exercise our unity. John 17:21, that all may be one. So that is the cry of the Bishop of Boya, that is the cry of the moderator, that is the cry of the fee pastor. So all of them, they are calling on all the Christians to join together to celebrate this wonderful time that God has given us to be together. That's all I have for you.
Yeah, thank you very much. There's some of our viewers who wanted to reach us. We say thank you. We continue to get and to pray together. We get the last words from our brothers here and our sister. Join us from the 18th to the 25th of January to celebrate the Week for Christian Unity. The church, as the body of Christ, is called to be a place of refuge, peace, and reconciliation. When Christians come together across denominations and traditions, they can model the love of God to the world in powerful ways. During crisis, the church can work to bridge divides, foster cooperation, and focus on shared goals such as serving the needy, offering spiritual guidance, and standing as the testimony of God's love. This is a time for the church to not only respond to compassion, but also to demonstrate the unity that Jesus prayed in John 17 verse 21, where he asked that his followers be one as he and the Father are one. Thank you very much for being with us today, and may God continue to bless you. See you tomorrow. And thank you for all that you continue to do to us.